Yo, is Dame from Another Game with Dame, and I know I promised y'all some NBA content, man. I know I promised y'all some NBA content, and also just basketball content all around. And you know what? I think it's about time for me to start making some basketball content. And if you get mad or if you get triggered, say something about it then.
Okay.
The best point guards in the league, I have at my number 3 spot, I have Ja Morant. Now, that's kind of crazy considering what Ja Morant has been doing this season and considering the player that we can obviously see him turning into. But I do think that Ja Morant is the third best point guard in the league right now. And that's mostly just because, I don't really think he has a good 3-ball, but I do think it's getting better. I consistently see him getting better every season, and I think he's a true leader to his squad. The number 2 position, I have Luka Doncic. I'm talking about the MVP, man. I think that Luka is the number 2 point guard in the league right now, and the only reason he's not the number 1 is mostly just because of the fact that, I'm gonna be honest, he really can't shoot free throws. I know that's kind of a nitpick, but he literally cannot shoot free throws. He can when it matters, I guess, when it matters, but all in all, man, I think you need to have that in your bag all the time. Obviously, with my number 1 spot, I have Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the best point guard in the league, and it's really hard to name one flaw that he has, other than probably his injury status. But other than that, man, he can shoot the ball lights out. He has great paint work, very underrated. He's a very underrated rebounder. He can play make, and yeah, man, he attracts double teams, which gets his other players involved. So yeah, man, those are my point guards. Now, on to the shooting guards. Now, this one is probably going to be the most controversial, but it is my list. So at the number 3 spot, I have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think that Shai is definitely the 3rd best shooting guard, but that is not a knock on his game. Shai has proven to be someone who we're going to be looking into for years to come. I'm talking about game winners, 30-point, 40-point performances. It's nothing that he hasn't done yet. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Shai and the Oklahoma City Thunder go far. I think next year they're going to be a team that we're going to see in the playoffs and are going to be very fun to watch. So I have Shai at my number 3 spot. At my number 2 spot, I have Zach LaVine, and I think that Zach LaVine every single year, man. It's actually me and my boy Sean. Me and him definitely agree on Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is just every year, man. He gets better. He's always fun to watch. He can dunk the ball like no one I've ever seen. He can shoot the ball lights out, and He's really, he's actually a pretty decent defender as well. I think that's something that's very underrated about him. But yeah, as an overall player, man, I'm definitely taking Zach LaVine. And for my number 1 spot, I'm going with the man up in Cleveland, number 45, bro. I'm going with Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is the best shooting guard in the league, and I really do not think that is close, and I don't think it's a debate because when you see what he's doing, he's definitely affecting the Cavs right now in a very positive way. And if they go all the way, it's going to be because of Donovan Mitchell. So shout out to Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs, man. He's my number 1 shooting guard. On to the small forward position. At my number 3 spot, I have Jimmy Buckets, man. Jimmy Buckets is my number 3. I think that even though, he's a little bit undersized to be a small forward, I think he makes up for it with a lot of athleticism, a lot of grit, by far one of the best defensive players in the league. And when you need him to do something, he's going to do it. He might not be the best shooter, but he can shoot when he needs to. He might not be the most athletic, but he's going to dunk, and he's going to conjure up those layups and those fouls when he needs to. So Jimmy is at my number 3. My number 2 spot is that man out there in Boston, man. JT is another player who I've been watching and following for some time now. I think Jason Tatum has really proven himself to be a superstar, not an all-star. He is a superstar in this league, and I think that if he makes it back to the finals, I don't think he's going to have that same meltdown that we saw.
I hope so.
Okay.
And with the number 1 spot, man, obviously I'm taking LeBron James. I think LeBron is still the best small forward in the league. I think he's the best leader out of everyone on this list. And yep, so that is my number 1 spot. Now for power forwards, I'm gonna have to go with my number 3 spot being Karl-Anthony Towns. I think Karl-Anthony Towns is the 3rd best power forward in the league, because that's where they're ranking him now, even though he was a center. But I think that he is the 3rd best power forward in the league. I don't really see a lot of power forwards being better than him at what he does. I think he can really shoot the ball. I think when he wants to be, he's really good in the paint. He's a pretty decent defender, and he's definitely the greatest shooting center we've ever seen. So yeah, Cat is my number 3. At my number 2, I have Kevin Durant. And the only reason Kevin Durant is in my number 1 spot is because he cannot stay healthy to save his life. So yeah, Kevin Durant is at my number 2 spot. Obviously, man, the Slim Reaper, the Snake, whatever you want to call him, like, yeah, he left the GOAT Russell Westbrook when he was playing with OKC. You know what I'm saying?
Who?
On number 1 spot, I have the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. I think that Giannis's resume and his game speaks for himself. Giannis's bad night is 25, 10, and 8. So I think that kind of says a lot about his game. I think Giannis is by far the best power forward in the league. I don't really think there's anyone touching him in terms of just raw determination and will. I think that he has some of the best will that we've seen. He can get to the bucket on command. He's formed a mid-range shot. He has a nice fadeaway. His three-point shot is coming along. He's become better at shooting free throws. He's one of the best defenders in the league. I can go on and on and on. And he's a great leader. He is the 2nd best leader on this list, in my opinion. Yeah, I love Giannis, man. I think Giannis is the best power forward in the league. Now, for my centers, this is definitely my favorite list because I always piss people off with this list. But with my number 3 spot, I'm going to go with Bam Adebayo. I think Bam is the 3rd best center. You can make a debate for Rudy, maybe Rudy, but I think what Bam's doing this year is something we've been waiting to see Bam do for a long time, averaging 20 and 10. He should be DPOY, but probably won't be. He should make the All-Star game, but he probably won't. Yeah, I think Bam is definitely the 3rd best center, and considering the fact that he's already on a star-studded team, I think he makes up, he makes up for it, man. He makes up for the fact that he's on a star-studded team with being a star himself. He's playing with players like Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, some underrated players like Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson. He has Lowry at the point guard. And, he just compliments everyone with him being, at the center position and holding it down, only being 6'9", and just being a really good player. So I think Bam is my number 3. At my number 2 spot, I'm going to go with Nikola Jokic. I think that Nikola Jokic is the best point guard center that we've ever seen because I don't really see him as a real center, but I do respect what Jokic does and with his game. He's not the most athletic, but it doesn't matter, man. He's probably one of the most skilled on here, definitely top 5. Jokic is he's a pretty decent shooter of the basketball. He has a nice mid-range, a nice post fade. The defense is a little lackluster, but he is 7'1", so I think it kind of makes up for that. Very skilled, some of the best passing IQ on here, and I love Jokic, man. I think Jokic is a really good player, but I do not think he is better than our number 1 spot, which is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is one of the best centers that I have ever watched in my life. He will go down as one of the best to play this game, especially when he wins a championship. And I think the only thing holding Joel back is his injuries. But even with that, he is still the best shooter in the league. He is the best shooting center in the league right now. He is the best center period in the league. He has the best paint work. He is the best defender. He is the best at what he does. And I think that is just that's my number 1 spot with Joel Embiid. So yeah, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know, let me know some more stuff with this basketball content. I'm also gonna have a best players in Akron, best basketball players in Akron. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that. And yeah, man, I'm Dame from Another Game with Dame, and I'm out. But before I forget, go be great.